All right, I'm ready to start.
Are you ready to learn to get rid of stress in your life? To learn how to deal with the emotional turmoil that causes strokes, heart attacks, bad health, and even weight gain? Life-changing habits for work, family, and everyone you deal with start here with Andrew Wittman. It's time to get warrior tough. Here's Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman.
All right, it's time to get warrior tough, the most monumental hour in media anywhere. We're your leadership and mental toughness coaches, Andrew Wittman and the Dutch Coleman.
What's happening? I was going to say what's happening in America, but I guess I should say the entire world, since we always have the international presence.
We have a huge international audience that listen to this show, dude.
Absolutely. Shout out to them. Shout out to, Australia, Indonesia,
and
Saudi Arabia,
Great Britain,
Japan.
Germany, Japan. Yeah. I mean, we're literally half of the radio audience is international, dude. That listen to us on the app, on the live show. I don't know what what the numbers are with streaming and who gets it on the podcast and all that, but I know the live show, half of the stream comes from overseas. Pretty cool. All right, if you want to get in on the conversation on the Twitter, use the hashtag GetWarriorTough. Dutch is at @DutchColeman. I'm at WarriorToughPhD. The website is GetWarriorTough.com. Number to the office is 864-977-1443. Dutch, it's springtime. You were down. We got to be together a little bit last week. You were down and you had spring break and the kids, you went to the water park and all that. And now you came home to the blizzard of the century.
How dare you say it's springtime? Unbelievable.
Hey, man, it was 54 down here today too, so it was cold down here.
Spring is a theory up here.
It's a theory.
It's like one of those things that we're waiting to prove exists.
So good. See, up there, the groundhog guy thing matters, but he's from up there. Like, we don't care about the groundhog down here because it's always spring. Like,
exactly.
We have two seasons, spring and summer.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's all good, though. But are you staying warm? Are you staying kind of toasty?
Yeah, I mean,
they make hotels out of ice, up there in like Norway, man.
Where they're covered in ice up here.
Finland.
But
okay.
It's just amazing because it snows and it just keeps snowing, and it's like the Energizer Bunny. It keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't stop. And it's supposed to snow again tomorrow. It's supposed to continue through tomorrow. And it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's love you, buddy. Better you than me, man. I love snow, but I like it for like vacation. Like if we're gonna go
visiting,
right. I don't like living in it. But anyway,
exactly.
So it's been a pretty good week, right? So we did get to see each other last week, which made it a really awesome week. So it was great to see you in person, and we got to see your kids and hug on them, and it was just awesome. Coach wasn't with you, but I'll get my hug from her later. But yeah, so you had a good time, and now you're back in the saddle. That's why we didn't do the show last week, because you were on spring break, and I thought, hey, we need to give Dutch a break, man.
I appreciated that. But the part of the break was working, man. We were grinding. We were trying to get some business done, meeting with the folks down at good folks down at Clemson about doing some stuff with the team and the university. So we're always grinding, even when we're on vacation. We're trying to get stuff done. Yeah,
I mean, and that's it's because we're passionate about what we do. Now, this is great. We did have the meeting with the folks at Clemson, and we're working with the team. And so you and I had this conversation while we were down there about the soft skills that. And I'll say D1 athletes, but they have to be team members. Like, you're not going to get these skills if you're like the golfer or the gymnast or whatever. No offense, but it's got to like in the locker room with the team, because I said that sports is really controlled combat. That's what I've always believed that it was. That it was a place, it was a crucible to learn mental toughness. And so these guys and gals, the women and men of D1 team sports, they go through a very similar process that veterans do when they go through boot camp and this team building, and they learn these soft skills of like having to overcome. And that's why mental toughness comes in, because they all dominate their bodies, right? That was the conversation we had. So anyway, there has been a bunch of junk going on in the news with, Uber having a meltdown, and, every time I turn around, there's another company culture, getting their hand caught in the cookie jar or whatever, right? So you and I, we're up against this like every day of the week that we're out talking to companies. They tell us that they hire for attitude.
Mm-hmm.
They look for people that have soft skills, and that's who they hire, and because they think that you can't train soft skills. And what do we say to that?
That's nonsense.
That's what we do. Oh man. So yeah, it's complete nonsense. But so during this conversation you and I had, the Uber thing came up, and then the press started calling. So I did an interview with, I want to say it was Recruiting Trends, on this meltdown kind of in the Uber culture, and then Entrepreneur asked for me to do a column on it. So that column came out. The article on Recruiting Trends is out. That interview with me, and then I did a byline column, and I just want to kind of go over it. You and I want to go over what I laid out, and the title of the article was is the solution to Uber's culture crisis hiring veterans. And I said, but I also want to include, I didn't in this because they wanted veterans, because actually the pool for D1 athletes is way smaller than veterans, but we include them. I mean, that's why you and I are teamed up together. I kind of do the veteran side, you do the athlete side, and it's very, very similar. That's why we literally are in lockstep on so many of the way we do things, just because we've both been brought up in these cultures of the military culture and the athletic culture.
Absolutely. And again, the pool, like you said, the pool is bigger with the military, but you know what, the percentage, the elite people that these folks are is almost the same. I mean, there's less D1 athletes, but when you look at what these folks have to do compared to the general population,
oh yeah, no question.
Oh man, they're exceptional. They're exceptional human beings, exceptionally trained, mentally and physically. And but what we want people to know is that, again, these aren't skills that you have to be born with. This is, right. People say born leaders. Now, we're not saying there's no such thing as a born leader. We're saying that if you weren't a born leader, that doesn't mean that you can't become a born leader and better than any other born leader that's ever walked the earth. So we're trying to get rid of the notion that these skills can't be taught, because we do it every day.
Every day.
And it's absolutely successful. The blueprint, we have the blueprint. Come check us out, www.getwarriortough.com. If you're listening to us, if you can hear our voice, you've heard some of the things we do. Now you need to take that next step and make it a part of your life in real time, as far as reaching out to us. You got the information how to contact us, whether it's your organization, whether it's you personally. We're here, and that's our major point, that, do not be duped into the idea that you have to be born this way, or that these people are special. Yes, they are special, but this is not something that's not attainable.
Right, they're special because they've done the process, and so
absolutely.
So here's this philosophy that's out there about all these organizations that says we're going to train for we'll train hard skills, but we hire for attitude and soft skills. And soft skills being things like positive attitude, strong work ethic, resilience, mental toughness, right? But the problem with that philosophy is anybody can have a good attitude, Dutch, when they want something from you, like a job. Like, you think you're hiring for attitude. Anybody can put on a good show, right? And if you think I'm kidding, listen, people put on a good show for even like minimum wage, because if you've ever been to Disney, those people, they put their flesh under and have a good attitude while they're on the clock out in the public eye. Don't catch them with the head off, the princess head off, but in front of the public, they have a good attitude because they want something. They want a paycheck.
Well, everyone listening should be 100% in agreement with that. You've been there yourself. If you're listening, you've put on an act in a job interview. You've performed a certain way to get what you wanted, whether it's with a relationship, you're trying to get a date, trying to get a job, trying to make a team. You've worked harder than you ever worked in tryouts.
You lied on that Match.com profile. You tweaked it.
Absolutely. You put that picture in there from 8 years ago. I mean, we've all been there. So that's something that everyone should be shaking their head going, we've definitely been there.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying that veterans or D1 athletes by any means master any of these skills. What I am saying is they've all been trained. So if you're hiring a vet or a D1 athlete, they've been trained and tested in these soft skill areas. Okay? So in order to increase your firm's chances of landing a recruit with bona fide, genuine package of these ever-elusive soft skills, you should be hiring more veterans and D1 athletes. Because they've been trained, they've been tested, then they've been trained some more and tested some more. Now,
there's no question about the tested.
Yeah.
The tested part is I know we got about 2 minutes left before we come up on a break.
Okay.
That's something we can get into more to the tested part, because a lot of people aren't tested. And as you alluded to earlier, we've all said it. We've already said it with our mouths, but have we been tested? Have we tested the tools? And that's something that we actually pride ourselves in, the fact that we're going to take you down that path and we're going to get you ready, not only for that act, but for the performance.
Right. Okay. So after the break, we'll launch into these. I laid out 8 soft skills that veterans and D1 athletes can bring to every company's culture. And we should be searching these people out. Mm-hmm. Right? Searching them out. Because listen, I'll tell you what, man. I know we only got a minute left for the break, but there is so much money being spent by HR departments on how to manage millennials. Let me tell you something. D1 coaches and the military have already figured it out. Stop spending your money on that. They just piggyback on what they do.
You know, the funny thing about millennials and the different generations and how they change, there's slight changes with every generation, no matter what people in that generation want to believe. Oh, we're no different. We're fine. We're just fine. There's a certain foundation or certain core that exists with athletes that can't change. You know, even if the surface changes and some of the, minor things here and there change with their generation, there are certain things that we're talking about that involved in these soft skills. They can't change. In order for them to be successful, they have to maintain, they have to develop these skills. They have to use these skills. So as Andrew noted, man, you can save a ton of money if you focus on these athletes and these veterans when you're looking for folks.
Yeah, and put them in leadership positions. My goodness. Anyway, are we up on the break, Dutch? I don't want to get into something, go on a rant if we're about to go on a break, but
yeah, we got about 30 seconds, so we don't want to.
I don't want to go on a big rant. But anyway, right, buckle up, because we're going to go over these 8 soft skills, and you may have them. And if you're a veteran or a D1 athlete, you already know what we're talking about, because you know what it is to be in the weight room and get up at 5 in the morning and do PT when you don't feel like it, and have a good attitude about it. Because if you don't, you ain't going to be on the team. And you can complain all you want, but your drill instructor is going to put his size 9.5 where the sun don't shine. You're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with Dutch and Andrew. We'll be right back.